Hello, folks. Here we are, another Saturday Light Live. Um, and Another day's gone by. So, very interesting of watching everybody's journey into this type of lifestyle. All kinds of emotions surface when we're digging at these levels. Today my throat's a bit dry. Doing some colon feeding this week. And should give it a try. Very interesting. Just drying yourself and washing from below. Lots of things happen in a few days. But we have here Andrew. How you doing, Andrew?
Hi guys. I'm doing a bit better than I was earlier in the week, that's for sure. I just finished up about 70 hours of a dry fast, and
Nice.
My vision in my right eye is not 100%. I don't know if you can see, it's quite red and
A little bit.
bit dry.
Mm-hmm. It happens.
Yeah, it just came up, sort of early on yesterday. It just came up, and it's kind of persisted through the night. And a few other things came up, like this pain in my right heel that I haven't felt since I was about 15 years old, probably.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, it just kind of feels like I'm really digging deep at the moment. I'm at day 105 at the moment.
Yeah, that's right. We're way up there.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very interesting how all the things start coming up from your past.
Yeah, and it was kind of like, it was my kind of very first experience with, as a child, being like, having something terribly wrong with me, because I was playing soccer or football as a kid in primary school and high school, and I had this persistent pain in my right heel that just wouldn't go away, and I kind of started thinking, I'm just a kid. How can this be happening to me? And all of a sudden, I had this debilitating pain, and my parents took me to see doctors and ended up seeing like a podiatrist, and they analyzed me and said, you've got no arches in your feet are dead flat, and instead of looking at the rest of my body and maybe my spine alignment and that sort of thing, they started taking molds of my feet and prescribed me with orthotic inserts to put inside my soccer boots. And I started wearing these orthotics for pretty much in every single shoe that I wore for the most part of my life.
That's what they do.
Yeah. And it's like, but that sort of developed into, I had other pains playing. I started playing rugby in my later years, and I had like really bad shin pains running on hard grounds here in Queensland, but I always wore these orthotics, but I never experienced that specific pain in my heel until now. Ever since I was a child and 15 years old playing soccer.
Are your arches still flat?
Yeah, they're still flat, but not as flat. And I think because I've had like chiropractic care on my spine, and just through fasting, and I'm sure a lot of changes has already happened to my spine and everything.
Interesting. The pain. It means
Yeah.
something's happening over there.
Yeah, definitely.
The barefoot walking on pebbles.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very reluctant to wear shoes at all these days. I want to wear bare feet as much as I can. The only time I really wear shoes is when I have to go to work during the week.
Right. Yeah. That'll fix it. Not putting a crutch on.
Yeah,
This is
bad solution.
This is how modern medicine solves things with crutches and suppressions and so on and so forth. But hey, I've heard of people that have restored flat feet and restored their arches, doing a lot of work. Exercise on their feet and so on and so forth. Because the arch is of the foot is the spine, right? As you were saying, the reflection of the spine. So, start working on that and the spine and so on and so forth. You can restore anything, I believe. It's just how much effort are we willing to do, and how long is it going to take? It doesn't matter. Just keep working at it and stay focused. But how's everything going? You made a post the other day. It was last week.
Yeah. Yeah, I just ever since about, I reckon, day 80, it wasn't so much physical changes happening. It was just like, bam, just the deepest emotional, just craziness, like everything that could possibly happen was happening, in terms of, how my stress, like because I'm working full time, and I was just getting into the most stressful time of my life at work, and I just felt like everything was being thrown at me. And on top of that, dealing with home life and children, and putting too much pressure on myself, wanting to be not, I don't know, like not giving into my old ways in terms of how I deal with these events in my mind.
It's normal. It's very normal.
Everything was just so heavy, and I could not, as much as I tried to get present and to meditate, these things which only a week ago or so was so easy to me, everything was just so difficult, and I just could not escape the mind, and the chatter was just so strong, and all of the things that I've experienced in my deepest days of depression and all that sort of stuff was coming back stronger than ever. And
it's good news. It's good news.
And it was like, yeah, and I felt this, I said in my post, like, I felt this direct connection to, this really strong connection to my bowels, what was happening physically in my bowels, in my colon. I felt I was so backed up, no matter how many enemas I did. I was doing 4-liter enemas at a time, and I did 5 by 4-liter enemas straight, and the water was just black still at the end of that. And I was just thinking, how many more of these enemas do I have to do? Because I just cannot, this floor is so freezing cold, and it's 4:30 in the morning.
No, you just do your best. You're not gonna get rid of everything.
I've been there.
It was just such a struggle, physically and emotionally, and
literally a pain in the ass.
Yeah, literally, exactly. I'm sure many people have been through this, including yourself, like you said, but it was just horrendous.
It's just...
You'll be much more sensitive when you're fasting than when you're eating, especially when you go up towards the hundreds, you will be very, very sensitive, and you're doing amazing. Try not to be hard on yourself. This is very normal what you're going through. The harder, you think it's hard now? Wait until you break your fast.
I know.
And it's gonna be like your mind is gonna go crazy because you find like, okay, you will give into eating and you will eat some good food, but it's not satisfying, and then you're like, you eat more, and then it's not like you go crazy because you think nothing is satisfying, and you will just get a very clear picture that food is not the way to go, and fasting is the way to go, where you start facing your emotions and facing your life and dealing with your issues rather than um, hiding them and dealing with them by stuffing our face to get ourselves busy. Our bodies, also physical body, busy digesting and taking the energy towards that rather than to helping us, clearly find solutions to our issues and challenges and growing. So it's very normal. I would say pray, and lately that has been my thing. Fasting and prayer go a long way. And when you eat, do your best to eating clean and keep your prayers. And also keep as many habits as you can from the message.
Yeah. Now, be real clear what your exit plan. Be very clear. Have lots of fresh ripe fruit around, and just be very clear.
Did you eat raw fruit beforehand?
Yeah, I have been sort of on predominantly raw foods for maybe the last 12 months or so.
Mm-hmm.
And some on and off fasting. I did a couple of smaller master fasts, 30 days and 40 days to begin with. And then I experienced what you've talked about, Rana, and breaking the fast and just going crazy with foods, and even going back into the rubbish foods that I previous ate, and I vowed to never eat again. But I ate them, after the fast, the first fast I did, and exactly what you said, I still didn't understand my real emotional issues and what I had been using, the way I'd been using food in the past. I didn't understand that, and those first couple of master fasts allowed me to experience really what was happening, and that was chasing all this food and going crazy over food and wanting this and this and this, and then all of a sudden, it's like a black hole. You just cannot put enough food in. You're never satisfied.
Addiction. Yeah, that's the addiction at its best, I guess. How many days did you do in the past?
The first one I did was 40 days, and then about a couple of months later, I did another 30-day master fast, and then breaking that fast, I went crazy with food and made some poor choices, and then probably about 10 months later, I was called back to this and went in for the 108 days, and I've become much more aligned with, or much more aware of what my real reasons for choosing those foods are, and much more aware of my body and my mind and my emotions at play in all these scenarios with food. And it's just so clear.
It's like when we choose those foods, it's like we want to test ourselves. Is it really the food? And we, and the next morning, the revelation comes very clear of how it affects us. And some of us choose to do it over and over because it's easier to feel the physical pain than to allow the emotions to surface, because the emotions are very powerful.
We are definitely very stubborn. I mean, we know it. We have done so many mistakes that we know what's good and what's bad. I'm not saying to go ahead and do big mistakes because you can put yourself in danger, but like small mistakes, here and there, and taking full responsibility for everything you do, of course. But we know it. My goodness, we know it. But it's the belief, and that takes time. It's the belief system. We keep going because, like, we keep eating, thinking that it, it's not. Maybe it's not the food. So I might as well, I might eat. Like, I'm not sure, is it the food or is it not? So you eat and you feel horrible, and then you keep eating because you're addicted now. The same, food that makes you feel bad. Yeah, it's interesting.
It's we are all going through these different experiences, and it's just very challenging, especially when we're around others. When we're on our own, it's a little easier. You don't have to have all the things that entice us around us. We can avoid all that. But when we have others around, it's a little more challenging for a lot of people.
Yeah, like when you're alone, like I'm alone most of the time, but I work. And work is also stressful. It's a big part of, like you're always going, your responsibility. And so, like, you almost have no time for yourself. Same thing if you're living with people who you're kind of responsible for. Then I can see that also, that you're very, like, you're busy. You're busy with the other person, occupied. And if you're doing both, then I don't know. If you're working full time and you're taking care of your family, then that's a lot of stress on the person. It's
Yeah,
not easy to change.
the busier you are, the better.
But I have to say, it's been, I've been able to deal with work a lot easier fasting than in my previous days eating food, and it's allowed me to see a lot of patterns that I was previously unaware of, in the past, with drinking coffee, eating food when stressful situations arise at work. Because I sort of had urges, even when I'm drinking the juice, sometimes I feel like something stressful at work, and it's like I want to just keep drinking this juice, and it's like, but then a second I just become aware of what's really going on here. So, am I really, because, yeah, am I really wanting to put things in, or is it just looking to avoid or distract myself from what's really happening?
Well, it's important to put enough fluid through us to wash, but our mind is working differently. It's using the drinking as we need it, as a source of whatever energy, whatever. But in actuality, we're using it to wash. That's really all we're using it for, and we want to get it enough through it because the fast is what's loosening up all the obstructions throughout, and we want to get it out as quickly as possible. So that's a key factor, to drink enough. That's really all why we're doing it. To otherwise, excuse me, people run themselves into the dry states and start backing up and into their own waste and start drowning in their own waste. And that's what we've seen happen in people who weren't drinking enough. But the mind plays all kinds of games. So as long as you're getting in those couple of liters a day, you're fine. Some days you drink maybe a little more, some days a little less, but I wouldn't want to go much less than 2 liters a day for people that are new into this type of lifestyle, especially less than 2 years of clean eating and fasting. There's a lot of work to be done to clean the physical body, especially the emotional. But the physical body, it's almost inconceivable of how much cleaning it really takes to remove a lifetime of obstructions. and it takes a lot. It takes a lot. Like it's incredible. Year after year after year, you continue doing these things, and stuff keeps coming out, and you're going, where is it all stored? But it's pretty incredible and fascinating that on how we can actually get it all out of us within a few years, depending. I've shared my story about a major lung detox in the fifth year on the raw foods and fasting, and it lasted like 5 weeks. I thought I was going to cough my lungs out. How much coughing I was doing every night at the lung hour, which was I think 2 a.m. Would last a couple hours every night, and I had to put a bucket beside my bed. And how much crap was coming out, it was unreal. It's just unreal, night after night after night for all those weeks. And then during the day, it was just a little cough here and there. Come the night, be waking up by the cough and go for another round. And my lungs hurt real bad for those 5 weeks and a few weeks after to for them to settle up. But this is in the fifth year. People are doing 108 days and this and that, a few fasts, and they're wondering, why isn't it over yet? We've just begun. We've just begun. So that's why this is a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. You're either in it or you're not. There's no in betweens.
Things will be much easier when we start, really cleaning up the lifestyle and doing less and less mistakes, right? Mm-hmm. Things will be much easier. It's it's going to take longer when we are making more and more mistakes. So, just do your best, everybody.
Yeah.
Do our best.
Yeah.
We get a lifestyle, and this way we do less and less mistakes. We have stronger beliefs about what's best for us.
Yeah, we just embrace everything that comes. Jump for joy when we get healing reactions. It's truly jump for joy, because body's doing tremendous work when you have these healing reactions, and most people run scared when they have healing reactions. It's just this is the process. We work through the pain to allow the body to heal, and the emotional pain is the one that most of us can't handle, and is why we turn back to numbing ourselves out again in whatever way: food, alcohol, drugs, etc., etc., etc. But if we allow the process to unfold through the emotion, and step back and view it as like we're watching a movie, just allow it to happen. Yeah, there's going to be pain. It's okay. Let it happen. Let it flow. Let the tears come. Whatever. And once you release it, you're going to feel much better. You're going to feel much better. Everybody that has their big long cries, they feel much better afterwards. Why? Because they're releasing those emotional blockages. We're having physical responses and so on and so forth with the emotion, but the tremendous feeling is through the emotion. The power is in the emotion. And this is the challenge that we all have to face sooner or later if we want to find balance. We let those list of emotions work our way through, and embrace them. Just embrace them. And how long it's going to take, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This is a process for our soul, the evolution of the soul in this physical realm, and then we move on to the physical realm, into the spiritual realm. We have the spirit body. It'll be another process, and we'll continue. And we'll continue as long as we allow ourselves to keep learning and keep expanding and keep working through divine truth and divine laws, and and for the greater good, peace, balance, and correct conduct. I like it. If that's all our focus is, we are going to keep evolving and not dwell into the pits of hell like some people choose. But we create our own hells, and it's not a good place to be. I've been there, so um, it's much nicer being in peace. Much nicer. Um, uh,
It's a process.
yeah, it's a process. We're all learning. We're all learning. As we say, we have everybody that we encounter in our lives is just a mirror, a reflection of ourselves. And so whatever situation happens with someone, we have to step back and look, okay, what am I learning? What do I need to learn from this? These are the questions that should start coming up, no matter what situation. Even if somebody comes up to you and robs you, whatever, what do I need to learn from this? And keep asking the same question for whatever situation comes up. And the answers, as I found, as we continue working on this path and continue cleansing, which is really a spiritual cleanse. The physical is just the emotions in the physical, but it's the process of the emotion and the spirit and connecting with God. That's really the whole key. If we allow that to happen and we move forward, the answers are going to come to light. They're going to come to life. If you keep asking the questions, they're going to come. And, that's why, people are looking for their answers, and there's just no possible way that I can have an answer for everybody else. But everybody will have their own answers when they go within and they connect. But listening to all the different people around us, you may get hints and clues that will help you get to reveal your answer. And this is the beauty of people sharing. It's the interactions and the connections because we're all one, and it's beautiful.
I found that, like, I prayed when a month ago, maybe I started praying after maybe 3 years not praying. And I started praying, not meditating, but praying the way I used to pray as a child. And that was really powerful. Maybe the most powerful prayers. Like, I feel like I want to cry and praying and talking to God. It's really nice. It's very deep. And that was maybe a day around 106 when I started praying. It's much deeper for sure than when you're eating. So I would definitely suggest that, people get into, like they are, getting into the spirituality of side, like praying. And I think prayers are very powerful. So if you haven't done it for a while, it's a good time to do it when you're fasting, because the connection is much stronger. I feel the obstructions within us are also obstructions from connecting to God, the divine.
Mm-hmm.
And as you clean up, you have more access to the divine, and you start finding answers and becoming a better person.
Yeah, most of the clarity and answers come to me when I'm in my fast, in my longer fast especially, not when I'm eating. We have Elaine and Noor. I just noticed. Hello, guys. Chip in anytime you want. We're just chatting as family here. We all inspire each other and learn from each other. This is the beauty. But Andrew, you're doing great, man. Just the eye thing. I've had eye challenges. I've shared my story a few times. When was it? When I was doing the high fat stunt, high fat raw vegan thing for almost 3 years, which almost killed me. At the beginning of that, I was doing the sun gazing. The HRM method. Start at 10 seconds, add 10 seconds a day until you hit 45 minutes. It took me, and then once you hit 45 minutes, you reduce 1 minute a day till you go back down to 15. It took me about just over um, 11 months, I think it was 11, 12 months. Yeah, almost 12 months, I think it was, to do the process here in Toronto, because there's some days we don't have sun. It was a wonderful experience, but I don't remember what day it was. Somewhere probably in the 30s, 30 something minutes, I lost my nearsightedness, and it was very interesting. Um, I kind of understand what happened now, because I was doing the high fat. My body was turning into an imbalance mess at that time, and like I said, it was at the beginning stage. So I continued doing the Sunsgate. I took a little bit of a break, and it was I interacted with HRM to ask him what's going on here. He goes, yeah, it could happen. Take a break or continue. So it was kind of paranoia thing, looking at the sun, and let's see, my eyes were pretty blurry. But I ended up, taking a very little break, and I continued, and I finished it up. My eyesight restored a bit, but not to where I liked it. And then after I completed it, I would continue doing the 15 minutes a few times a week after that. It was the reason I continued to and finished it, because it was not the physical part that was that wanted me to keep going, but the peace I felt. It was a wonderful daily meditation that came with that. So, if anybody's going to be doing sun gazing, I would recommend you be a clean eater first. Yeah. If you're going to be doing that, and do it at the safe hours of the sunrise and sunset, 1 hour windows of those, and everything will be fine. But, you can do it with your eyes closed. Now that we understand the fields, and you can do it for much longer, but it's always good to do this gradual succession of 10 seconds. It's a good system that he developed, and work your way up to that. And then, once you've done that, we don't have to do it ever again, but, you can continue to do it with your eyes closed for, hours if you really wanted to. You're taking in those fields, but there's not only sun gazing. There's you can do moon gazing, you can do star gazing, you can do flower gazing, the tree gazing, people gazing. Everything has fields, and we interact with everything. It's not that what we can take from the sun, but what we can give to the sun, or give to the plant or the flower or whatever. If we look at it the other way around, what can we give it? Then we get a whole different feeling of what we can receive in return, because that's what opens up the plasma to allow yourself to receive. And it's a beauty thing to happen. Like the fields at night for the earthing, the ground, are much more potent than the fields in the day when the sun are out. So, if you want to do some barefoot walking at night, it's going to be a little more dangerous. Depends where it is. You can don't want to be walking on broken glass or whatever. But if you're on a beach or something and you know the area, the night is awesome to do barefoot walking and connect with those subtle fields. Is very powerful. But talking about the sun gazing, these are things where you're taking time for yourself. Really, meditate, prayer, whatever you want to call it. It's taking time for yourself and connecting with Source. And this is the power to put that time aside each day is very, very powerful, because most people don't do it regularly. So, sun gazing, sun gazing is one way. You can make that a practice, a habit, and instead of
I have experimented with sun gazing in the past with that method, and yeah, like you say, I did find it a very spiritual experience. It was very strange, and I only did it for a couple of weeks for whatever reason. I stopped, but this was even before I started fasting and really had the proper knowledge about healing with with that sort of path. And I remember the first or second time that I did it, and I was only doing it for like 10 or 20 seconds at a time, and it was at sunrise. I just remember immediately afterwards, having this incredible feeling of gratitude and connection with other people, and just a strong feeling of love towards other people. And this was really before I started getting into proper meditation as well. It was really, really a powerful experience.
Yeah, it's awesome. Awesome if we, dedicate some time each day to prayer meditation. This is the one key factor that most missing in most people's life is connection to God or Creator. And
Yeah.
Could
so,
I ask, Rana, when you were talking earlier about prayer, if it's not too personal, or if you'd like to share just maybe an example of how you actually do pray, and does it involve getting deep into a meditation first and going about it that way, or how do you actually
Yeah.
pray?
So I was born and raised in Saudi Arabia, Palestinian Muslim. So it was something that many people practice over there, and we learned it in school in Saudi Arabia, especially. And it's a religious country, so we learned lots of religion in school, and we just grow up. Pretty much all the kids learn how to pray. Families depends. Like in school, it's like part of the system, but families, some of them are religious, some of them are not. And my mom's side of the family is more religious than my dad's side of the family. And I always loved how spiritual they are, like just looking at them as an example. Whereas, my dad's family is more into like the materialistic world, so you can tell a big difference between them. I loved how some people in my mom's family are very spiritual. Like when they pray, it's not just praying like other people, but it's like they really care about it. When they fast, they don't like jump on the food when they eat. Like there's, they do it for God. It's godly, it's spiritual, and you eat slowly and you eat, a little bit. You don't eat too much, and then you continue your prayer, whatever. So there is definitely much more, um, connection with God, and my grandmother as well. I just loved it. Looking also at the marriage, the way they're married, like the respect between the wife and the husband. It's definitely different, less gossip. And these people who are spiritual like that, there's less gossip between in the families. It's more connection. But I'm just saying, like how we grow up. We learn how to pray, pretty much everybody, but the families are different. Some families are more religious than other families. Now, the prayer is a little bit complicated to explain. It's in Arabic, right? The Quran is in Arabic, the Holy Book. The phrases are very powerful. And I haven't, as I said, I haven't prayed for 3 years. I haven't fasted for 3 years, but I started again praying about a month ago. Now, some of the statements are, there's definitely so much gratitude to God. There's so much gratitude in the prayer. And there is a look at God as definitely the most powerful. the most loving, the most forgiving, the most, all the good stuff, but also, the most, I don't know how to say it in English, but God can punish the most as well. So, there's definitely, yes, there is fear in the way it's described, I guess, in other religions as well, right? There's fear, like there is heaven and hell and all that. So don't do bad because you're going to experience like um, pain and, suffering. So there's fear factor, but I mean, it's really interesting because I started thinking about like, maybe it's good to have this kind of fear, not too much to an extent where your life is, like you have to make sense as well, right? You want to live your life like a normal person, but you want to be reasonable. You don't want the fear to make you unreasonable. No, you want to be reasonable. But fear, it's like when we eat food that is not, we know is not appropriate for us, and then we have the pain, So there is fear from eating that food again, Like I don't know how to say it. I mean, I guess yeah, Gino, maybe you can say something here.
Love is the balancer. It's the most powerful emotion.
Mm.
No need to have any fear.
Well, I mean, pain and suffering is fear, and we all experience it, and we're all challenged, and we learn from our mistakes. And I mean, it's okay. I mean, we have free will. We all know that. Every religion does say that humans have free will.
I've never seen fear bring balance. It's only love that brings balance. Fear, just like you said, there's fear of the food causing harm, and we do it anyway. If there's no
Yeah,
love, there's
because we're
no.
not ready.
It's the love that's going to create the balance, not the fear. Fear
Yeah,
brings
but
imbalance.
we are learning, right? Remember from our mistakes, we are definitely
Yeah,
learning.
but
So
I only see fear bring imbalance. Look at what wars do. It's all fear, warmongers. I don't see it bring balance. Never ever have a war bring balance. It's
yeah,
only bring.
definitely, love is the way to go, definitely, and peace is
So,
the way to go. Fear is fear is part of our lives. It does drive us to change. So it's very interesting. I mean, it's very controversial, the whole subject, Andrew. But you can say something as well. I don't know.
I guess, yeah, the only experience with prayer that I've had is through my religion as a child, which was Christianity, and but I didn't really, I don't know, I don't really agree with a lot of the things that is in Christianity and Catholicism as a religion, but I tend to just, I don't know, I know there is a divine presence around us that is giving energy to everything, and it's I think it's shared in, it's common in all religions, I think, and I think that's really what we we pray to when we talk about God, and we give God different names. It's all the same, really, and it all involves us as well, each and every individual, and being connected to each other and everything at the same time, and having that overwhelming presence of love. And yeah.
We're definitely God's creation. We come from the Spirit of God. But I started saying that we are not God. Started realizing not too long ago that I used to think that we are God, but we are not God. We are maybe part of God, but we are not that God. Because definitely God is much more powerful than humans. God is perfect. We are not perfect, at least. I don't think so.
God created the perfect universes for each and every soul in creation to find balance, no matter what. And that's the beauty of creation. But we have free will, and we can choose to go the path of imbalance. But at any time, we have the choice to bring balance back, no matter what. No matter how much hell we're in, we can make the choice and bring the balance back. And that's the beauty of creation, the perfection of creation. It's beautiful, and yeah, all the different religions, we're all praying to the same God. They're, it's, uh, I have respect for everybody's beliefs. Everybody, has the choice and the free will to go their path. But at the end of the day, we're all part of this one creation. And if we all got along and understood that, it'd be a much nicer place to live in, much more peaceful. Um, it's just, the topic of religion is very, very emotional for people. Very emotional.
Yeah, but it's a tool. The prayers are tools. It's nothing more, nothing less. I mean, politicians have taken it to another level, where they created wars and created so much hate. But it doesn't have to be like that. When you're godly, you're a good person. And it's from inside you, you know it.
Yeah, well, if you look in the past and through the religions, the politicians or whatever, however it all worked exactly, I don't know, because history is his story. Whoever won the war wrote the book. So there was mass killings on all types of religions and on each other. It's just for what reason? In the name of what? In the name of the religion, in the name of the politicians, in the name of the bankers, whatever. It's not right, no matter how you look at it. So, if we choose to live within peace, balance, and correct conduct within ourselves, connection with our Creator, we won't have any of these conflicts. They'll cease to exist. If everybody chose that, and that's the path of least resistance is peace, balance, and correct conduct. But we're led to believe somehow that going to war and everything is going to be the path of least resistance or something at the end and bring more peace. I've never seen it happen. It's never happened on this planet, as far as I know. It's only brought more destruction. So we can only start with ourselves.
Humans are not ready to be perfect yet.
No, well, the creation is perfect, and
yeah, but humans are not yet ready. The majority. There's so many distractions.
Yeah, there's
so many distractions to be the majority. I mean, we are evolving slowly. I mean, look at it.
There's a lot of beauty on this planet, lots of beauty, and that should be our focus. Just the beauty in creation, everything we look at. Just look at any plant, and I'm in awe sometimes in looking at the design of a flower or something. Whoa, man, look at this intricacy, the details, and just in awe of the beauty of creation. Just looking at all the different people and the races. There's beauty in everything. Everything. Just when I was growing up, I never had that outlook that I have now. Now I can see the beauty in everything. Everything. Just simplest things. It's just amazing the difference from where I came from to where I am now. It's like, who was that guy 20, 30 years ago? That's it's very interesting, but we'll all find our ways. You look at the Buddhists and they're into the meditation and they see God in all things. How can everything be separate? It can't be. It can't be. There is God in all things. And if we look at the structure of our body, it's exact duplication of the operation of how the universe works. There's no difference. Is that a coincidence? Impossibility in creation. There's no way. So each one of our cells in our body, our blood cells, has its own soul, which is an individual. But as all the blood cells make up the whole of our body, and each one of us make up the whole of all humanity, and each one of the planets make up the universe and the stars, and so it's all related, and it's all works on the same principles. It's very, very simple when we start looking at it that way. Like we can't even conceive that the universe is ever expanding and continuing to expand. How can you even conceive that? It's not possible in the mind. You look at a grain of sand and look at all the beaches on the planet. you know, we're a grain of sand on these beaches, you know, and it just keeps expanding. Like, how can we perceive this to understand that? And it's ever expanding in all ways, in all directions, outwards and inwards. Can you comprehend that? And it's just, it's just the amazement and the perfection of creation itself. So let's focus on changing ourselves. That's all we can do. Start with me.
That's the biggest project. Isn't it the hardest thing?
That's the problem. It's me. It's not anybody else. It's me. I'm the problem.
Yeah, exactly. We can be, you know, faced with any other challenge. We can be faced with, you know, with any challenge, and not have to react, you know, or somehow learn how to be calm, you know, and resolve it.
I put my hand up
we
first.
Can, but I guess we're not doing it, but we can. It is a human potential for sure.
Of course it is. Look at some great, beautiful, wonderful souls from the past, what they've done. Just example, Gandhi comes at the top of my head and so on. You know, what can happen with one person? Whoa, it can change a whole nation. One person could change the whole planet. Sure it can. If that intent and emotion is true in divine truth, and it's pure, it would change the whole humanity. That's how powerful intent and emotion is, and we all have that power within us. As you know, we're taught in plasma science that the power of a soul has many more times the power of an atomic bomb, but on the positive note, not on the negative. And in creation, not in destruction. So how can we comprehend that? And how do we perceive to utilize that? The only way is to keep working on ourselves and interacting with like minds who believe in being on this path of self-awareness and self-improvement and you know, peace, balance, correct conduct. I like to say connection with source, because what are we doing if we're, you know, with people that don't have these common goals? Like, what are you doing with your time? If you're maybe there to help influence the other person a little bit, but if they don't have any interests, you know, what are you doing? So we work on ourselves and continue on that path. This is the most powerful way we can do it. And the ones who've made big, massive changes in the past is what they did. What did Gandhi do? Oh, let me think about that. And he would go on a fast or whatever. Try and find the answer, right? So, you know, this is we've been given the answers by many in the past, many wonderful spiritual teachers and so on in the past. So,
and religions.
Yeah, of course.
Really, I mean, amazing.
Yes.
Seriously, like, I mean, look at amazing religious people out there.
Of course,
you can't put them down.
No, there's good in everything. There's the both sides, you know, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever, and the beautiful. So we focus on the good, the beautiful, forget about the other stuff. There's no time for that. There's enough of it around there. We don't need to focus on it.
Yeah, I mean, you'll find faults not just in every religion. You'll find faults in every country, in everything. I mean, you cannot say that everybody in this country is good and everybody in this country is bad.
Are you joking? No.
You know, humans are humans wherever you go in the world. They're humans. They're the same.
I was just
come to Canada and you'll see.
Who sent me a video? I think it was Michelle. It was a seagull walking into a store and stealing a bag of some chips and then walking out. And it was one of those automatic doors, you know, with the sensors. So I went to the door walked in, grabbed the chips, went to the door open, walked out. So look, you know, with the animals, they're addicted to those foods and they're doing things that they probably normally wouldn't do. I don't know. Because they're copying the intent and the emotion of man, because they are under, I believe, under the emotion of man. The whole animal kingdom is a reflection of man's emotion. And we see the ugliness of the killings and eating each other's because that's what we're doing. If man would cease to do that tomorrow, I believe that all the animal kingdom would stop eating each other instantly.
And also torturing the animals as well, humans.
Yeah, well, of course. Yeah, that's if people can torture an animal, it's not far off for them to do the same to a human being, is in my thinking. It's how can you separate it? You look into an animal's eyes. It's just there's life there. There's a spirit and there's emotion. It's all there. Talking about who was it? Somebody, I think it was Sadhguru, talking about a cow. If a cow lives on your property and there's somebody that's hurt or sad, the cow sheds tears. I'm going, whoa. He goes, it was unreal when I actually saw it and seen that it happens not only one time. This is something that happens. The cow is part of the family. Because the emotions, they're attached. So, when we're eating these animals, boy, oh boy, I've done the experiment, and yes, you take on the emotions of the animal. Guaranteed. It's, I've talked about this recently. Somebody was asking, they did that experiment in one of the California prisons several years ago. They gave a choice to the prisoners to go on a vegan diet, and a lot of them, I can't remember how many, it was a big number, took that, and they were given extra privileges, I believe, if they went vegan. Anyway, lo and behold, it turned out that they were much calmer, et cetera, et cetera. And then reoffenders in those jails were like in the 90 percentages. The ones that went vegan, 0% were reoffenders. Like just changing what they ate. So food doesn't influence emotion? Sure. Okay. I got some swampland to sell on the moon if you're interested. Everything affects us. The environment dictates outcome. External environment, internal environment, especially. It all affects us. So if we clean the environment, which diet does up to a good degree, we're going to change the way we feel and how our outlook on life and everything else, and how do we interact with everybody. I can tell you from like I said, I was saying earlier, looking back 20, 30 years ago, I don't recognize who that guy was. I was a very aggressive, completely different person, very aggressive. And once I stopped eating animals, the aggression came way down, like changed completely in a very short while. And then I shared when I was in Italy the experiment I did. I was preparing mentally to do another master fast, and I was walking through a grocery store, and they were roasting some chickens. I went into this grocery store a lot to buy stuff. They were roasting chickens, but this time I had this whiff of the roasted chicken, and I had a craving. First time in it was at that time, was it 25 years or something? And I got a craving of that smell. For many, many, many years since I stopped, the actual smell of burnt carcass was actually bothersome to me. People doing barbecues and stuff, and it still is. But that day, a craving stuck. And I'm going, what's going on here? So I go, I got to get out of here. So I went back, and then I went back the next day and went by that area again, and I got another whiff and another craving. And then a thought came in. I go, what would happen if I ate that thing, right? So what did I do? I bought the roasted chicken, organic, small little chicken. Got some arugula and went home and I pigged out on it. I enjoyed it. I blessed it. I elevated its soul and everything, and thanked it, and I ate the whole thing. And then I went to sleep and I woke up in the middle of the night with fever, and it was not a good feeling. The next day, I'm going, oh man. I started getting all kinds of urges and sensations and weird things. I was talking to Ran, and she goes, "What are you going crazy?" It was just,
and the sexual desires that
yeah.
people have when they eat meats
Oh,
are just
big time. It was like because I don't get that. I'm going, holy mac.
and you said for you it was different, when you were eating meats and now you're eating vegan. um, you said it's very different now, right? Like this big
Oh
desires.
yeah, no, you don't get that. No false urges or anything. When you know when you need to have love with your partner, it's all there, perform more than ever. But it's these urges that come on for no reason. Now I can see why there's so many people raping and killing and so on and so forth. It's all through their, you know, these emotions of the animals, fear and pain and suffering and so on and so forth. But anyway, what I did the next day, when I woke up the next day, I'm going, is this for real? So what did I do? I went to go get another chicken to make sure, and I did it again, and it was even a worse fever the second night, and a worse feeling the next day. And then what did I do? And then I did my first 12-day dry fast after clearing my bowels, and it was an amazing spiritual revelation, because before that, the longest I went was 7 days, and it was amazing experience. I was swimming in the cold sea. It was the winter. When I started, when I was on the dry at 7, I think it was on the 7th day, I found this place which I didn't find before. I had a pier that went 1.5 kilometers into the sea, and it was a beautiful place where you dive in. People would be swimming there, but uh, so it was an awesome experience. I was riding my bike, and this mountainous little area. It was awesome experience. It was the first time that I felt my kidneys completely release and open up, because I've had kidney challenges for many years. And that was the first breakthrough I had with my kidneys, that they just like I don't know how to explain it. There's no real word. There was a release and a sensation that there was I didn't feel it anymore, and nothing in that area was like whoa, and there's like an energy surge. It was just incredible feeling, and other wonderful sensations of different forms of energy and so on and so forth I was tapping into. It was just a wonderful experience, and this is why I'm so adamant and a proponent of dry fasting. But I believe that we should not look at fasting as a thing we do. We should look at it as a time where we're connecting with source, and we're living on that energy from source, because that's what it is. Prana, plasma, light, whatever you want to call it. It's this is what we're doing most of the time, because we're not eating 24 hours a day. So when we can learn and understand that that connection is always there and always available for us, and then if we choose to eat occasionally, that's fine, nothing wrong. I'm not telling everybody to stop eating, but when let's look at it the other way around. Let's not eat and then choose to fast. Let's live on light and choose to eat occasionally. Let's turn it around. Let's get our minds changed, because we were deprogrammed from where we came from. From where we came from, there's no eating. So we were duped to believe we need to eat in this physical form, and we do not. It's just we don't have the belief system, because we've been conditioned that we need to eat. And most of us will die if we stop eating. No ifs, ands, or buts, because that belief system is so deeply ingrained within us that we will die. We will surely die of whatever you want to call
And
it.
we're detoxing too as well, right?
Yeah, that's the other thing that a lot of people don't understand, what happens when you stop eating. is the detoxification process. And in today's man is so toxic, physically, emotionally, probably more than ever in the history of humanity. So we need to come to the understanding, how do we do it safely, and et cetera, et cetera. And this is how we evolved to bring what we call a master fast system, MFS, to be able to take anybody from any walk of life and allow them to, transform and metamorphosize themselves if they commit. If they commit. If they don't commit, not going to happen. So this is the wonderful beauty of what we're mentoring and expressing and sharing and interacting with everybody, is looking at this as a lifestyle, because this is what it is. And this is what we've been sharing since day one. And this is what I've been sharing with people for many, 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 many years. It's a lifestyle of fasting. Never let it go. That's the one thing that stuck with me. There's only very few times in all the season changes since I started in 1990 that I didn't fast. I've missed very few in all that time. It's a lot of fasts I've done. A lot of long ones, but many, many, many short ones. And it's the consistency and the persistent, and is what I don't see that most people grasp. They come and they go next on to the next protocol, and then on to the next protocol, and so on and so forth. They don't allow themselves to understand what we're doing and what this is, and commit and trust in the soul, because that's ultimately what we're doing. We're trusting in soul, which is from source, because he created the soul. And once we have that connection and the trust and the faith, everything's possible. And we've seen it. We've seen the metamorphosize of people in just 108 days. Now that, we've been at this for over a couple of years, and the people that are continuing, like, you can't even recognize some people from when they started, like, holy mac, like completely transformed, and this is, just imagine what happens in the next 5-10 years of people living this lifestyle. Just in the last couple of years, when we started sharing, fasting has gained a lot of popularity. We see a lot of what we've been sharing, and people are taking and scrambling it up in all kinds of different things. But the basics of the understanding of what fasting is misunderstood. It's misunderstood. People still are looking into, we need to add this, that, and the other thing. We're missing something. And we've been advocating its complete opposite. It's all about subtraction. And once you comprehend that, and you have the trust and faith, nothing's going to stop you. Nothing. And you will see the evolution when you're consistent and persistent in this over the next few years. You'll see what happens. This is why, Andrew, you're talking about, you did, 30 and 40, and then you had to do 108, because you felt what the process is working within. You felt that, and you can't forget that. And the understanding started to come through. I need to go deeper. I need to go deeper. And this was my stubbornness. There's got to be more. There's got to be better feelings, and just expand and expand and expand. Because I haven't seen anybody else push it to these levels. Except a few of the breatharians that are living on absolutely nothing. And but otherwise, fasting is massively misunderstood. From my 2 cents worth, my opinion, I see very few grasp what we're talking about here. But it's okay. We're all learning, and it took me a long, long, long time to really, really understand what this is. It's all spiritual, nothing real physical. We're doing the physical motions, but it's all spiritual. It's all in the name of our Creator. And that is going to change your life when we start looking at it like that. Noor, Elaine, anything to say?
I'm a bit quiet today.
You're a bit quiet. That's okay. It's nice being quiet.
Yeah, I just feel, I don't know why, I just feel like being quiet. But everything has been going all right.
That's it? All right?
Sorry?
Only all right?
Yeah, kind of all right. Because to be honest, I've been feeling a bit disconnected from my soul and from God. And when I'm disconnected, when I'm feeling like that, I don't feel comfortable. Yeah. So I'm just watching and waiting what's gonna happen. And I was gonna break my fast on the 40th, which would be on the 26th. But I think I'm gonna go on more, maybe until the 1st of July. Yeah, I just want to see what's going to happen. What's that phase I'm going through, and
it's a different experience every time.
How long have you been fasting for now? Since 1st of Ramadan. Since 1st of Ramadan. Great, it's good for you. Yeah, so I wanted to continue 40 days. But now I'm thinking that I still want to go on more. Did you do Ramadan while you were doing the master fast? Yeah. No. Ah, you did? Yeah. So you fasted? It was easy for you to fast for like the whole day? Yeah. So you stayed up at night? Different, because the 12-hour of dry fast is definitely different than the dry fast hours in Ramadan. So that was a bit challenging. So there was more dry fasting every day, right? Yeah, more dry fasting. Yeah. But I mean, it's too much. I mean, I stopped it. I got really tired, so I stopped halfway through, kind of. So I kind of, stopped my long fast, which was 116 days. I finished. But you've been fasting for a long time already. Yeah. So when I did long daily drives, it was too much for me. I felt I did not drink enough juice when I broke my daily drives in Ramadan. I could not drink enough juice because I was sleeping. There's no time. There's not much time because the day is very long. And so I was thinking to eat, to slow down the detox, to eat when I break my dry. But I kind of fell off. Yeah. I kind of fell off, and I just kept eating throughout the day, basically. So you stopped your fast? Yeah, I did. Yeah, but you've been on it for a long time, though. Yeah. I mean, I'm back on today, day 3. Oh, you're back on it. Yeah, I did 25 days of eating. It was not fun. I mean, I knew from day 1 that I wanted to go right back on, but it's just, it's always hard to.
Yeah, what did you do?
Somehow, I don't know what it is.
116 days you did?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, so it's always, I did 116. It's always challenging. I mean, it's not really hard at all to get back on, but there is a fear factor. Like, I'm afraid to give up food. Ramadan is it's the holy month, fasting month in Islam. And so basically from sunrise to sunset, no food, no liquid, no nothing. It's dry. And sometimes it happens in the summer. It's a different calendar. And so sometimes, I mean, it's like 10-day difference between the Islamic and the Christian calendars. So every year it changes a little bit. And now it's in the summer and the days are so long. I mean, I ended up doing...
It was in the spring.
21 day, 21-hour dry fast daily, almost 18 to 21 hours. So that was a little bit too much because I was used to 12 hours.
We don't recommend newbies do master fast.
Yeah, so no, yes, not. I mean, you can do Ramadan, but in winter because the daily dry is much shorter. but in the summer it's too much for somebody who's starting. If you want to do Ramadan and do a clean eating, go for it. Like you can do fruitarian diet. You can, for example, right? And just clean up your body for the holy month and dry fast, and that's amazing. You can do herbs. You can do master fast hybrid. Yeah. But when you're new to fasting, it's best not to do it. We don't recommend it at all because it's not the protocol.
So basically,
the protocol even me, I did fall off.
The protocol is the Ramadan is basically sunrise to sunset dry, and then they're supposed to eat small amount of food, not like some people. Some people pig out. We've heard if you read the statistics, the hospital visits are way higher in Ramadan, ER visits and so on and so forth, because people overeat. It's the sales of food goes way up in Ramadan. See, people don't follow what they're being taught. It's, I know, I remember speaking to somebody says, yeah, you're only supposed to eat like a few dates. That's it. And when you're in Ramadan, you're not supposed to pig out. So, you could do it, but I wouldn't recommend somebody that's new to fasting or whatever to be on.
Yeah. So you see, talking about religion, this is not spiritual way of doing it. Spiritually, you would know better. I mean, back in the days, they didn't do that. They had a few dates, some tea, and then like traditional Saudis, if you go to their homes, they have dates and there's coffee. It's like very light herbal coffee, and that's how they break their fast. And then they later on they have a soup and a salad, and I think they have another meal later on. But it's like very nice and simple and light and slow. And then you pray after you eat, and then it's nice. But the majority of humans are hungry.
The majority of humans are so toxic that when you go through this type of fasting, it's a shock to the system, and they're not doing anything to exit the toxins that are coming out, even in the daily dry fast, and then they're pigging out to stop it. So it's a bang, 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 bang. It's a shock to the system, and that's not what we're doing in master fast. We're continuously washing.
Yeah, but you don't want to compare master fast to Islam, because
I'm not comparing to Islam.
Yes, this is not Islam. What people are doing is all wrong.
Yes, to what people are doing, things that they're not following what is being taught. That's what I was comparing it to.
I knew, I got to understand fasting in Ramadan way more after I done the master fast.
Yes, of course.
And I realized how you discipline yourself when you're fasting, and you especially discipline your ego when you're fasting, and that's how you actually connect to God.
Yes, this is what it's about, and this is why the few people that are doing the pigging out and everything, they're not comprehending what are they doing. I don't know what they're doing. You read the statistics on what happens in those times. It's just like Christmas for Christians and so on. They pigging out way more than normal, or Easter, or whatever. What is this?
And that's supposed to be a spiritual holiday, right? Where you thank God and you connect with your family.
So food consumption goes up, killing animals goes up, killing more plants goes up. It should be the opposite. If it's done for spiritual reasons, it should be the opposite. But anyway, who am I to judge?
I mean, we have dessert. Okay, guys, we have dessert in Ramadan that is specific for Ramadan. Okay.
Oh my God.
It's horrific. You see the food, this kind of dessert, you don't want to even look at it. You get toxic just looking at it. It's like dough, and inside is cheese, and then you deep fry it.
Ooh,
and
wonderful.
Then you put sugar syrup on it, and that's dessert after the heavy food. And that's only in Ramadan, okay?
Sometimes they put Nutella in it. Sometimes they put Nutella in it.
My goodness, that's new.
Yeah, Nutella.
So it's now we understand why there's more ER visits. Very clear. Fried dough is absurd to eat. it's actually absurd. It's just,
and
it'll
and then
lock
the
you
next
right
day
up.
dry, and then the next day dry, and you wonder how can they do that? They must be really strong. It's not easy to dry fast
It's,
after heavy food.
yeah, it just
But you
shows
know,
you.
maybe. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I thought maybe that's why they would be in a very cranky, bad mood the next day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like all of them. And I'll be like, this is Ramadan. You're supposed to love each other now. And you're supposed to be compassionate with one another, not stare and stuff.
There you go. See how the revelation comes to you? It's what they're eating and what they're putting their body through. It's being affected in a multiple. It's multiplied the effects
Mm.
because of the dry fasting window, which they're not doing regularly in their lives. They're just doing it in the Ramadan time. But this is it's amazing when it comes to light, and you can clearly see what's happening, how it affects
It's
people.
such a blessing. Yeah, it's such a blessing to be able to see that.
Yeah. So for the people practicing that, there's safe ways of doing it. Do a few master fasts, live the lifestyle, and you'll be able to do it, no problem. Eat a few dates. When you're in Ramadan, you're fine.
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, if you do a fruitarian, just clean up, maybe watermelon fast or something like eat watermelons only or eat just fruits, that's already amazing. And I remember when I was doing raw foods, I decided to do, because, you also become a little bit spiritual when you do raw foods, right? You're cleaning up, less obstructions. And I decided, okay, Ramadan, I'm going to fast and I'm going to eat only fruits. And I remember my family friend, an older woman, she was like, okay, now Ramadan is coming, before Ramadan is coming, you're going to eat, right? Because I eat raw foods, right? And they think it's crazy. And she's like, Ramadan is coming, you're going to eat, right? I was like, especially in Ramadan, you want to lighten up your diet. I mean, what's the point of Ramadan? Seriously, you want to teach the older people about the purpose of fasting in the religion. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Common sense.
How much were you drinking during Ramadan, Noor, during the night?
1 liter.
That's
I could
it?
only do 1 liter. Yeah, I could only do 1 liter. Of course, with the tea, not included, the kidney tea. I used to do the kidney tea with the herbs. I broke the fast with that, and I did it the last thing at night before sunrise. And yeah, that was it.
So you stayed up all night?
Yeah, I used to stay up all
night. Yeah. You could have drank a little bit more, no? Juice.
No, I couldn't.
If you were up.
No, I couldn't. I tried my best, and I used to try and drink it real quick, but I couldn't do more than 1 liter.
Yeah, I couldn't, because I had to sleep and wake up and go to work. So I couldn't drink more than 1 liter. But maybe I was more affected than you were, because my body was already fasting for a long time. Yeah. And you were coming from food. So I think maybe that's why I was more sensitive. But it's best not to do that. Like Gino's saying. Best to maybe just eat clean during Ramadan.
Not for a newbie on master fast on Ramadan. No way.
It can be too much.
No way. It's too.
But as I said, Ramadan changes, and in the next few years, it will become in the winter time, and so it will be much shorter fast. So you can do that as long as it's 12 hours of drinking, you're good. And 12 hours of dry.
Yeah, I think. But the thing is, I was praying and doing all the prayers almost all the time, so I didn't really feel it. And I'm thinking maybe that's why, because after Ramadan I started to feel a little bit maybe not tired or dry in a way. But yeah.
You mean you stopped praying after Ramadan?
Sorry?
You mean you stopped praying after Ramadan?
No, I didn't stop praying, but in Ramadan I was praying constantly. Like I did it constantly. I did a lot of praying.
Okay, much more. Yeah, much more praying. And
way more. Like I used to sit hours
amazing
doing that. And I also did a little bit of sun
gazing.
Yeah, sun gazing, yeah. But not a lot because I couldn't. And I do feel like I'm very sensitive to light.
You can do it with your eyes closed, as I mentioned before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to try and do that with my eyes closed.
Yeah, but you're focusing at the sun just with your eyes closed.
Yeah, I'll do that.
So yeah, see, you get lots of different experiences going on.
Yeah, a lot.
It's amazing. Andrew, I was going to ask you, what are you thinking? What's your plan for when you break your master fast, the 108?
My plan is to up on green juices for several weeks, and maybe like one fruit meal in the afternoon, but still fasting. I'll probably do 36 hours each week. I think is easy for me, and because we've been going out to farmers markets here locally. There's lots of good markets where I live, and shopping with the family and experiencing, buying all that fruit, and strawberries are really good at the moment. It's kind of winter season here, so they're really sweet. I can smell the sweetness just from smelling them, and I pick strawberries with my daughter on weekends in the field. So I think I'm going to probably have strawberries as my first fruit. I don't know what you guys think about that. Any advice on strawberries as a
wonderful in season,
Yep.
local? What more do you want?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Beautiful.
Yeah, they're really dark red and just red all the way to the top of the strawberry. They're really sweet smelling. So I think I'm going to have a few strawberries and probably green juice for at least 2, maybe 3 weeks, and yeah, I want to follow the protocol basically for breaking the fast.
So what kind of lifestyle do you see yourself living afterwards, like for the long term?
For the long term,
I mean, not too long, but at least the coming year.
Yeah, I definitely have all intentions to stay on the less is more, lifestyle. I don't want to go back to the way I was before this fast. I want to just focus on little bits of fruit during the week and not overeating. I don't want to eat every day, that's for sure. And eventually I might have some salads and that in the evening.
Wonderful.
Depending on what I feel like, but
yeah,
I'm definitely going to be dry fasting every week.
You're in Australia, right? You guys are winter now.
Yeah, we're in Queensland, Australia. Yeah, winter time.
Yeah, the biggest challenge we see why fruitarian lifestyle doesn't work for most people is, number one, they don't have fasting in their life. Number two, they can't get local, ripe, fresh fruit. Ripe is the key.
Yeah.
And even if it's brought in, whatever, but that's the biggest challenge why people won't. Who wants to eat fruit that's not ripe? It won't work. You won't be satisfied. You know what I mean?
I'm pretty lucky where I am, and I'm sort of in a subtropical climate, so it doesn't get too cold in winter. Mm-hmm. Even though I've been freezing my nuts off recently.
Come and try it in Toronto. minus 30
Oh
Celsius. It goes up to,
no,
goes down to, I mean.
no thanks. No, thanks. But I used to love the cold climates to go on holiday in, but now I just don't want the cold. I want to be in the tropics. I feel I'm drawn to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm a little bit more fortunate than others in Australia, given that we're in Queensland up towards the north, and it's a subtropical climate,
Right.
and we do have some decent local food that we can get. We can still get ripe papayas and fairly decent quality ones, and pineapples and
Nice.
mangoes are good in the summertime, but they're still picked way too early.
Yeah. Yeah, I find even, like even in Belize, at the fruit markets, so much fruit is picked unripe. Like in
Yeah.
these unreal, and local food. What for? People eat it.
Mm.
These people don't know how to eat fruit.
Yeah.
You won't see a
But I
wild
think
animal.
the citrus fruits here are quite good at the moment in winter time, and I think it's a lot easier for local farmers to pick citrus fruit a bit riper. So we tend to get that pretty ripe at the moment. The lemons are off the chain. They're so good, the juicy lemons.
Nice. Oh yeah, in Italy, I was eating the lemons right off the tree, skin and all.
Oh,
There's no comparison what we get here. You can't even like what we get here. These real lemons, they don't taste like those.
yeah.
Like this is when you have the fruit available that's ripe. There's just no comparison. So for the people who can't get any ripe fruit, you're gonna have a challenge. Just try and get some frozen fruit, but you're gonna probably be more into the veggie fruits, the tomatoes, cucumbers, zucchinis, and eggplants, and everything else, peppers that's into that family. You're gonna be going more into that. Some more greens. You're gonna have to do the best you can. You can cook fruit, help satisfy you, and take it up to that level. That's big challenge, and why I see people not sticking to fruit lifestyle. There's just no comparison when you have ripe fruit. No comparison. It's night and
Yeah,
day.
there's a guy at my work who is he's been following what been doing, and he's by no means into this lifestyle, but he still loves his fruit, and
Nice.
he understands what I mean when I talk about fruit, and he started getting really into fruit just by sort of following what I was doing, and before I was
See.
fasting, I was eating fruit, just not that's all I was eating, and I was, I was eating I was eating a box of mangoes a day in the mango season, and he thought, oh wow, look at this guy, and look at how he's thriving and all this sort of stuff, and then that inspired him, and he bought this new house, and it had a mango tree in the backyard, and he sends me these text messages saying, "Oh, Andrew, you've got no idea what this tree ripened mango tastes like," because he picked his mangoes. He had to fight the fruit bats for him,
Oh yeah.
and he finally won the battle, and he was able to harvest these tree ripened mangoes. And he sent me these photos of him eating these juicy mangoes. He said he's never experienced anything like it.
Yeah.
And, he
Nothing
was
like a
so
tree ripened fruit. Oh man.
yeah.
Awesome. There you go. You've influenced somebody to eat more fruit. Just simple,
Yep.
because you're
Yeah.
being the change. It's oh
Absolutely.
yeah, it's the fruit bats. Yeah, when I was in Venezuela, that we had the mango tree there, and I was waiting for a ripe one. Gone.
They'll get it. They'll
As
beat
soon
you
as
to
it's yeah,
time.
oh man.
And they take one bite and it's on the ground, and that's it. They move on to the next one.
Yeah, yeah, it's unreal. But yeah, when like figs, eating tree ripened figs, there's no experience like it.
Yeah, we get good figs here too. Nice gooey. really good.
Yeah. Yeah, we're making you hungry.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, but you just thinking about that experience, it's satisfying just thinking about it. You don't need to eat
Yeah,
it.
it is. It is. I mean, like picking the strawberries with my daughter. She's
Yeah,
4 years old, and we pick the strawberries, and I I smell them, I touch them, I feel the softness, and
you
I
get the whole
watch her
experience.
enjoying them. Yeah, it's great. And I've been making food for my wife and daughter the last couple of days. It's been quite good.
Are they eating the same way, more or less, like brown vegan or
No,
vegan?
they eat vegan, and they've since changed to vegan following what I've done, and my daughter has experienced so much change in her health from what she was just this
Awesome.
little ball of sniveling mucus, as a 1, 2, 3 year old was because my wife stopped breastfeeding her reasonably early, and she was on the formulas, and we just thought it was normal for her to be just mucus coming out of every orifice in her body as a toddler, and as soon as we changed all that and went vegan, it just all that mucus just dried up, and she started showing her true intuitive desire for fruits, and
Nice.
because I had found fruits and Dr. Morse and all that sort of stuff, and I was just shoveling fruit into her, and she was loving it, and she wanted it, and that's all. When she's with me, she's under my care, she eats fruit all day. She eats nothing else but fruit, even at dinner time. But most of the time, when she is busy and playing, she doesn't want to eat. She does not
Exactly.
want to eat. When Mum gets home and she knows what foods Mum prepares food, she's, oh, I'm hungry, I want this, I want that. But when she's around me, it's like she doesn't want food. She doesn't want food, or
See,
she might.
you see what you just that's the power of the emotions coming through from
Yeah,
the cooking. It's
I
that's
know, I know.
it's that feeling that they're getting from the emotion, that comfort. It's not the food, but they're getting it
But
through the
I
food.
I observe very closely her emotional states throughout the day, and I see when she wakes up in the morning and she's tired and she's emotional, and she wants certain things to make her feel a certain way. And when she's crying uncontrollably because she gets frustrated and she's a child and she can't do something because she doesn't have the skills or knowledge yet, and she gets emotional, and she says, oh, I want this, I want that, I want water, I want food, I'm hungry. But she's not hungry, she's just emotional.
Exactly.
And I've been trying to help her to sit and deal with those emotions and say, look, it's okay to cry. It's okay to feel like this. Daddy feels like this all the time. Daddy cries all the time about things like this, but we just have to, we have to sit and feel that, and it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And, I'm just hoping that's slowly she's sort of learning to feel it, that because so many times in our past as parents, straight away it's like, stop crying, we have to go now, you got to stop crying, put your shoes on, let's go. Like, instead of understanding, well, why we cry as adults, or we should cry, but we keep all that stuff bottled up. But we the whole reason we do that is because we weren't allowed to cry as a child, and
Exactly.
I'm trying. We're trying. Even my wife. We're really trying to be conscious as parents now, and allow our child to have emotions just as we have emotions as grown people.
Yeah,
As adults.
that's amazing. And when you, like you said, when you keep it real busy and everything, they don't even think about food.
No way. No.
I remember as a kid with food. Who's thinking about food when you're playing outside?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. It's only when you go through a master fast, it's like food is. Oh, it's everywhere, and you can't. deal with anything unless you have food. But like previous to that, I remember even like a year before now, I just eat food and it wasn't a thing. I wasn't going crazy for it.
Yeah.
But I didn't understand that how I was using it either. You know,
Hmm.
as
Very
an
interesting.
addiction.
Oh yeah. It's nice that you're paying attention to, your daughter and stuff and how it's all working. Everything starts coming to light when we pay attention.
Oh yeah, you can learn so much from children
Oh yeah.
when they're so unobstructed in comparison to us. You can learn so much, and
Yeah.
you can learn how their body responds. I see the patterns when she eats certain foods that
Yep.
that I don't prepare, my wife prepares, or whatever. It's still she has love and she makes it with love, but it's still not an ideal food for consumption, which I know now
Yeah.
through experience,
Yeah,
and I
because
see what happens physically and emotionally.
as it goes through us, the physical part of it, it affects us in different ways, that stuff that's prepared, right? And we can clearly see how it does. It's just more obstructive than fruit. It's way more. And, we have to deal with it physically, even though we're getting the love through it. But we're going to get the physical aspects of it because there's the law of the physical. And we can't get away from that. Unless you can turn matter into light, which it's not impossible unless you're at that state. We're doing it. Actually, we're doing it, but we're not aware of it. When we're eating food, with physical foods, we're actually turning to light because we're only taking in the fields. We're not taking in the anything physical through the GI tract. It's just we're not conscious of it, and we don't understand it and don't believe it fully. Um, so the beauty of it is we don't need any matter to make light. That's the point, that living the less is more lifestyle is where we're getting to coming to that understanding through the experience. Slowly and surely over the years, we starts coming to light that, oh yeah, man, I can go much longer, and still have all this energy, and slowly surely go longer and longer, and the understanding starts coming through because we're so conditioned and brainwashed and programmed, or whatever hell you want to call it. With the heaven we want to call it, never mind the hell. And it comes to light. The answers start showing up. I mean, they were always there. The answers are always there. And this is the beauty of maintaining this fasting type of lifestyle, and less is more. It will be revealed to you. Some will not like it, and they'll go back to their old ways because it's too overwhelming for the massive changes that come with it. It's massive. You will not be the same person when you live this lifestyle a few years. It's impossibility. Impossibility. We're going to change, and we're going to expand, and we're going to be more aware. There's just no way around it. When you commit to this type of lifestyle, and the way it opens us up, and food, yeah, it's there, but not needed. So when we do it, let's enjoy it fully. Let's be wise, but when it happens, we allow ourselves to enjoy it. We don't beat ourselves up if we fall off here and there. Enjoy it. Okay, we've learned the lesson, hopefully, and continue and make better choices. Like I said, every time before I'm gonna do something, eat something, whatever, pain or pleasure. What is this one? What do I do? Do I want to experience whatever it is tomorrow by consuming this? You know, I was showing this earlier. If you can see some zinc cans I made recently, just pure zinc. It's a very slow process, but I'm liking the feeling being around it. It's very nice. This is strictly deals with balances out emotion. Very, very powerful. I've shared before a few times. My friend Giovanni and I spent 8 months in Italy with had the daughter that was in the so-called accident, was pretty much brain dead, and put her into palliative care in her early 20s, 2021, I can't remember. Her brain was actually mush, broken hip, her whole body was destroyed. He brought her back with Ganses, rebuilt her brain back to normal. She's walking. She's able to eat herself now, and you know, she's. This has been just over a year. They've been working with her. She was in a really bad situation, really bad. The hip that was completely severed, completely restored, because the doctors wouldn't touch her because they thought that she was going to die. They completely restored. You can't even see where the break was. All with Ganses. So we're talking about, you know, just energy. That's all it is. Connecting with the soul.
Was that taking internally?
He was using mostly a pain pad type of things. Putting Ganses inside plastic bags, and he built a helmet for her, specific Ganses to reinteract with the brain, so the brain can rebuild itself in physicality. And he was using different pain pads all over because she wasn't able to sleep when she got in that accident. Her eyes were, she was, I can't remember how many weeks she wasn't able to sleep because the pain of the body was so intense. Like she was in a comatose, right? And the first pain pad they put on her, bang, she was able to sleep. Within an hour, they put the pad on her. And then they started the process of restructuring the brain and so on and so forth with the Ganses and everything else. But there's a video on that. I think I shared it when they came out. He went through all the process of what he did with his daughter and what he's continuing to do. So you will see her fully functional in due time. Talking, everything will be coming back. It's when we understand the process of the steps of creation, you can create physicality, you can restore it, you can grow body parts back. This will all be coming, in the next few years. It's slowly being understood by people are learning it, and as more and more people start working with it, it's just going to go faster and faster. This technology, which is not technology, it's just creation. It's just the understanding through plasma science, so we call it a technology, but it's the operations of the universe and creation, which, we're just scratched the surface in understanding this stuff and the power of these things. But we got to understand that we are made we are made of this stuff. We are made of GANs materials. Our whole body is in a GAN state, and what's controlling it is that little dot we have right behind our eyes. It's a little speck. If you look at an MRI, you'll see it. Where your soul sits in physicality actually does sit in our physicality. It's just a dot, and that has all the power to run this physical form. So how does it work? How does it work? Through the intent and emotion of that soul. So we can connect with that, and the best way to connect it is fasting. Do you got any eye formula, Andrew?
No, I don't, but it's quite painful right now, to be honest. It's probably staring at a screen is not ideal.
Yeah.
Do you have castor oil?
Mm.
Do you have castor oil?
I've got castor oil, yeah.
And maybe turpentine?
You can put castor. You can actually put a drop of castor oil in the eye. You can get tea bags, any kind of tea, whatever you have spent kidney tear, and put it in some cheesecloth and rest it on the eye.
Okay.
Do that for like an hour, and do that, if you can, several times a day. It'll help draw.
Yep.
So with the kidney tea, you're using
that.
whatever, any the herbs, that'll work.
Did you have trouble with your eyes in the past?
No.
Did you used to wear glasses?
No, I've never worn glasses. I've always had really good eye vision. It's quite. I've had like a lot of sinus. I know I've got a lot of head congestion.
Yeah.
behind the eyes. But
Also, castor oil pack on the liver and kidneys. 3 days liver, 3 days on kidney, 3 days liver. Just help move things out.
Yeah,
Lots of animals.
And what I like for my eyes, I take a little bit, like half 50% alcohol. Sorry, castor oil, 50% turpentine. Put them in a bottle, and you can you put it a little bit like on the outside
Yeah,
of your
not inside.
eyes, not inside, on the outside. And it's very, very, very helpful. Turpentine on its own as well. You can use a little bit of drop and put it under here. Yeah, just on the redness outside the eye. And it really reduces the inflammation. You might feel like it's burning for a bit because it's really powerful. Yeah, just a drop or 2 drops. Just put it under.
Yeah.
Around. It's very powerful.
Your body's it's bringing out things that you don't even know existed. All weaknesses come to the surface during fasting, and just embrace it. Jump for joy. It's coming out. Really, it's not pleasant, but we need to jump for joy when these healing reactions surface, because these are things that in 5, 10, 20, 30 years or whatever, we don't know, is the things that will kill you.
Yeah, it's interesting how these symptoms, these strong detox symptoms, you'll see them when you break a long dry.
Yeah, I mean, it's these things that are hidden within deep that would kill you, in the future. And when you're fasting, it brings them all up. I love the stories of people. They had a broken bone or whatever in an arm or something, and many years ago, and they go on a fast and they start feeling pain, the same pain in that area, because that bone never healed properly. If you would do an X-ray before and after the fast, you'd see changes for people who feel that. It's very interesting the way the body works, because when you're eating, the obstructions are in the way of correcting the healing properly. So finally, when you give the digestion a long vacation, the body goes, "Whoa, thank you! Oh, I can go fix this and I can go fix that," and so that's what starts happening. We don't need to understand it, but it does happen, and it's a beautiful thing. A lot of people get scared in healing reactions. Some of them can be pretty nasty, but when you understand, use the tools, pull you through, come out stronger. Always, always, always come out stronger in the other end. And that's the beauty.
I've been using a lot of heat packs on my kidneys at the moment because they're really painful.
Use the castor oil.
Yeah.
Castor oil packs.
I think I'll use that today.
Drive it in. Yeah.
And it's on that right side too, which is probably related to the eye.
Yeah. Massage it with the burn stick deep as you can, comfortably, just a little bit of discomfort, as deep as you can. And keep doing castor oil, 3 days on, 3 days off, or just do 3 days on the kidneys, 3 days on the liver, 3 days and go back and forth. It's a bit of a mess, but it's going to really help you. Continue, even if once you decide to break the fast, continue doing this stuff. If they bother you, like I had when I did 108 days, the last week I had really bad left kidney pain, and I came out of the fast and my whole left leg went numb for about a month before it cleared up. So I had no feeling in my left leg. And this is where I said all these years, my kidneys really opened up, which was the 12-day fast, which was after that long 108-day, right? It was the year after, yep. So yeah, you're doing great. Jump for joy, man.
Yeah, my wife freaks out a bit, when I have these healing reactions, but I've certainly got no fear around it at all anymore. I definitely jump for joy when these things happen.
Yeah, we've seen, you know, what's people watched all the interviews of people and read the posts. Look at what people go through, man. And what happens after? They're always better and stronger at the other end. But, you know, people freak out when they don't understand what they're going through. It's mostly newbies and even some people who've dwelled in, you know, some clean eating, a little bit of fast. They still don't understand. They still freak out. Um, it's just got to trust the process. It's just trusting in your soul. You can't trust in anybody else. You have to trust in your soul. Nobody else can do it for you. And, you know, you're going to have to go through that experience and understand it. It's amazing. Who is it that another Kelly from Australia? I think she was, who had with the eye thing really bad, but she had eye problems, and you can hear her story for many years, and she couldn't resolve it. And she started coming out during the fast, and I said, "Keep going, keep going." It was weeks. Keep going, because people are doubting, you know, and keep going, and it solved the problem after. Is it 100%? I don't. She'll know if it's 100% on her next long fast. Because if it's not, it's going to continue to bring it out. And if it's on the third, it might even be 3 fasts, 4 fasts. You don't know. You just don't know. That's why I said earlier about my 5 years and stuff's coming out of my lungs. Whoa, 5 years later. You don't know. We don't know until we keep digging.
Yeah, the Noor has a question for you. So she's saying about her father. His eyes have been tearing. I think one eye has been tearing. Should she suggest castor oil drops?
Yeah.
Some doctors said that he's got water, but the pressure and his eye is okay. I suggested, the castor oil is okay.
One drop a night. 1 drop in the eye, and then you can rub another drop on the top of the eyelid. And you can do that. You can do the tea bags, like I said earlier. Get him to massage his kidneys. I guess he's a regular eater.
Yeah, she was saying here that he eats meat, but he stopped the dairy.
Yeah.
But he eats meat.
So you can ask him to, you know, cut back a little bit and more fruit in the morning, first meal. You know, more green salads if he'll do that. Always going to help. If he'll do a day of fasting, 24 hours. Yeah, you know, if you have the eye formula, you can do eye washes. That's why I was asking. If you don't, you can also do eye washes with the kidney tea, Andrew. Get like the eye wash cups, or if you have the swimming goggles, you put the tea into the, you know, and put them on, and then just leave your eyes open and for a few minutes and wash them. Yeah,
yeah. I have to bust out the old swimming goggles.
Yeah, kidney tea will work. It's very drying.
And I like neti pots.
Neti pots,
right?
yeah. Well, also, the neti pot also will help. Yeah, for the eyes as well. There's so many tools. You got to go read the tool section. We have so many. You know which one.
Yeah, you want to imagine how blocked the nose is. The nose is really blocked.
Yeah. I mean, I've never had eye trouble before, so I've never really specifically looked at those eye tools, you know. But I'll have to have another look at them.
You can also
the eyes are usually the kidneys. So if it's your
kidneys,
your right.
It makes sense. My kidneys have been on fire recently, so
it looks like maybe the right one is more than the left one.
Yeah. If you're at 108 days and still there, I would suggest keep going a little bit if you can.
I mean, that's what I'm sort of. I feel intuitively that I want to keep going, but I've made so many plans around breaking it, but then.
Yeah, no, you know, whatever. If you're all set but I'm just saying, if you feel they have even like an extra couple of days, whatever, just let it happen. Let it happen. No big deal.
I'm definitely going to. It's not like when I get to 108, I'm just going to be like, bam, this is it. I'm breaking. I'm sort of gonna, you know, 1 or 2 days or whatever. I'll just, exactly, see how I feel.
Yeah.
There's nothing set in stone around a date, but you know it's going to happen next week sometime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kidney
So
stones
yeah,
is bad.
yeah. No, you're saying he has kidney stones. Oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so
Oh, you got to open up the
definitely.
kidneys. Would he drink? Did he drink some kidney tea?
No, although I got it for him, but he never drank any.
Hmm. Well, you do what you can do. Is he going to the doctor? Or?
No, he said that he went to a doctor. I'm not sure when exactly, and he told him that he has water in his eye, that he might need to get out um, after a couple or a few years. But his eye has been tearing, and I'm not really sure what it is. But I didn't know it had to do with the kidneys. Then it's definitely the kidneys.
Hmm. Oh yeah, the
Yeah, when you
kidneys
have
are
kidney stone, it tells you your whole lymphatic system is going to be backed up. The whole body will be backed up.
bowels, kidneys. All the
It starts with
or
the bowels, causing the kidney stones, and then the kidneys
Yeah, and
caused all the congestion.
a while ago, a doctor told him that he had pockets in his intestine or colon, I guess. And I
Oh yeah, like diverticulosis.
probably
would he do colonics?
no, he never did.
Would he do them?
Where is he? Is he in Jordan?
Maybe. Yeah, we're in Jordan at the moment.
So does he have access? Is there colonics?
Yeah, we don't have colonics here.
Enemas.
I wish we had.
Enemas and colimas.
Yeah, I'll suggest that to him.
It's only going to help him.
Do you live together?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so you can help him.
Yeah, definitely.
You can get him this stuff and show him how to do it, or tell him how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely suggest that tomorrow.
So Elaine was asking. You're very welcome. Elaine was asking the solutions for the inflamed eye, Andrew's eye. Is it does it apply for the dry eye as well?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Same things. All those things we suggested. It's we all have it all in the tools, all these different suggestions. It's just, sometimes it's tough to do them all, but do as many of them as you feel comfortable to do. The more you assist in drawing everything out, the better it's going to be the process, and the easier you'll go through it. But can we avoid all the different healing reactions? No, it's part of the process of how the body works. We can just help ourselves assist in elimination. We can't do it. Eliminate the actual reaction completely, because that's the way the body expels. And all the different orifices, skin, everything. It's organs, glands, eyes. I had some really sore eyes in my last a few weeks back, or a few months. I can't remember now. What was it? Times flew. It was for like a week. Oh man, they got really, 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 really sore and dry. I couldn't even look at the computer. It was really bothering me. But I think you get over to it. Dry fasting's the best way to do it. Believe it or not, that squeeze, and then we start hydrating, washing, hydrating, and it brings much relief. So what are we at? We're at already a couple hours. Okay. Anything else? We call it a close for this week.
Thank you. It was great to get in touch.
Yeah, thank you so
Awesome.
much. Come back. We love to see you guys.
Yeah. Thank
Good
you.
job fasting and keeping up with it. It's not easy. Good job.
Thank you very much.
Good job.
It's amazing. People start getting it, and they Oh, I'm on my third, on my fourth, on my fifth MFS. No, you're living it. This is the way we do it. So, people are starting to understand it. We're living it. We're living it. This is why we're always here, because this is it.
It feels better.
It's just not something you just try it and go back. What's the point? What's the point?
Yeah, true. I never thought I'll be doing a second one when I first started.
Exactly. Because you didn't have the understanding of what we're trying to get through, right? And this is what I'm trying to say. It's very few start grasping it, and then you see they're on their second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, whatever. Many people are on multiple MFSs. It doesn't matter how long or short. You're living it. You're on it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you're doing amazing. You're sticking, with the fast and the lifestyle. You're really doing a really good job. And I remember when you broke your fast, you did a great job. Keep it up.
I look forward to my dry fast every week. That's the way.
Dry fast.
Yeah, I look forward to it. Because eating, what does it give you? That few seconds of pleasure, that's it.
Yeah, true.
And then you got to process it all.
Yeah,
a lot of energy processing food. So it's good stuff.
Very good stuff.
Elaine, we didn't get to talk to you today, but maybe next time. Yeah, we would love to hear from you. Okay.
All right. Let's call it a close, and let's keep that plasma love always flowing. And we'll see you on the page next week. Ciao, ciao.
Love you, everyone.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome, guys. Bye.